The story is I painted canvas in my driveway and a sudden rainstorm came. And I couldn't move them fast enough. And what happened then, I ended up with the pattern on the driveway. So I decided if the rainstorm continues and I put canvas on the driveway that is empty and put my messed up canvas on top and see what happens, and that's what happened.
Wow, so this is the bleed through of a canvas that was on top of it.
Yes.
Wonderful.
And I tried it again and it never worked. It worked once. Oh, I had this beautiful canvas that had imperfections in them. And I wanted, but I loved them so much that I wanted still show them. And I used the idea of the kintsugi Japanese art where they fix used items that have broken, but they love them, they want them to accompany throughout their life. So that's what I did with these paintings. Then I followed that thread that ripped off, and I followed it and traced it black. You can feel it. And then the spaces along I did with gold. I wish I would not have to do the big changes, but I did them. And then there was no more thread here, but there was somewhere on the upper one, so I just continued by myself. But I can feel it here. To connect them. Here again, there is the pull thread. And this part I added on myself. And it continues here. All across. Yeah, this is all painted on. And this one I had no threads left, but to connect it with the other ones, I just painted them in. Yeah, here is again a little bit. So I had to do a lot of connecting here because it had a lot of white space. But I couldn't leave the beauty of how it fades itself out by itself, so I had to just do it again. And from the very leftover edges, I did the collages. And I called it beautiful cracks because I think they're beautiful. And this is a Persian piece that my son gave me years ago, and I broke it years ago, and I did it on a glass window without ever knowing about the Japanese art.
Oh, neat. So this is you finding it in your own work after the fact. Oh, very nice.
Yeah. This one is about the history of research, science research, mostly space research, and we move forward and we discover things, or rather than we, the scientists, do. And whenever you try to find perfection, later you realize, oh, there's a problem, there's a crack. But this crack helps us to find new solutions. And that's how I look at life. And I try to indicate this in all my work. This is about the present situation where we have wars in many places in the world, but the most recent one in the Ukraine. So we're trying to avoid revolution and the peaceful evolution. And this painting, Hope, as person looking upward to the sky, hoping always to find solution, but some power of the universe covers or looks over us. Here I was thinking of cracked ice, but I sterilized it. And it sometimes looks so beautiful if you have ice that cracks. Okay, these two pieces on recursion, where patterns repeat themselves to exactly the same, but smaller and smaller and smaller, and larger and larger and larger. It's like microcosm and macrocosm in the universe, but it's mathematically also truth, evidence. Favorite ones, therefore I have 4 more at home. They are done with the Chinese idea of the number 8, because they deal with Borneo, the smog from burning the forests, to palm plantations for palm oil, and at certain times of the year, twice the smog travels all over Asia, and I experienced it once. And there is a company in England where the CEO made it his goal to go to all the companies worldwide and discourage them from doing things that ruin the environment, so that they build in their business environment-saving rules. I did is first a flow with water, and when it was flow with water and stretch the patterns so that they continued, and it was a messy job and a huge job. I had more paint on the floor than on the canvas, honestly. And then later I spray painted with white to create a fog, and then I sanded a lot with sandpaper also to get the texture the way I wanted it. And then in some areas I did dry brushing. Ancient history, and that we do not forget. And they had so many wonderful cultures, but each culture had a problem at time, and then we take from their cultures and rebuild again ours. I did this black one, little square at the same time. I tried to do the force of a hurricane and the rain, I even put some snow in. It could be a snowstorm. And what the good thing is, yes, it causes destruction, but again, after new growth and rebuilding. So these are the golden cracks and tracks. Like, imagine a ship being on the ocean when I painted it. If you can get the light to show through. looks like a window. See that? And I did the copper. This is represents a volcanic explosion, and volcanic explosions can do a lot of damage. But on the other hand, they create soil that is very fertile for future generations. And here I did a painting on when you wake up in the morning and you see the fog lift when you drive through the countryside. It's like a dance when the sun shines and makes the fog lift. So I did it like a ballet dance. I love when the sun goes, when the fog lifts and the sun comes through. I'm not so happy when you can't see anymore. This is represents the motherboard in a computer. And computers have cracks in them too, not only physically, but all the complications. But if we figure it out and move forward, good solution. This is again pathways, like a diptych to the other one, and about finding our way through life. And staying positive and happy. And we find our path through life, and when things get sometimes difficult, we have to find new solutions. So here they are. This and this has another part, actually a triptych, a silver part, and it's the sun rays coming up. But it's done with wax and color, and I try to do three-dimensional work, and I think I did it at the same time when I did the glass one with the broken porcelain. I love challenges, so I solved it as good as I could.